Okay, so I was just talking about the logistics, and now I'm going to talk a little bit about the previous ones. It's really like, I'm really open to any like creative ways you make websites. So if you follow the template, that's great. If you don't, if you know what you're doing, and if you don't like completely change the template, that's also fine. But you know, I just made a template because so that you don't need to know like crazy, you know, HTML and CSS. You can just like change the image, change the text, and you can make it. So that's the idea. But if you already know how to do it, or if you are adventurous and asking ChatGPT or whatever to make different design, that's totally fine. And I think I put it in the last video. I don't know if anyone's watching the video that I sent, but by the way, you can see it on the classroom page. Not this one. Yeah, the recording is here, the one that I did on Zoom. I attached a little bit of like video at the end because there was this question that something was, I think the layout was broken. If you go to, wait, I think it was working on the Firefox, but if you go on Chrome, and I know that more people use Chrome, not Firefox, so sorry about that. And if you open it in Chrome, it was like not displaying like this, but how was it? I think it was something like, edit here. So when it comes to like the design, which I don't really, you know, it's not like a necessity for you to edit, but if you want to change like colors and stuff, you can, you know, try out in this style.css. And there was this thing you had to add. So there was this like gallery image. I don't know where it was. And I already changed this from the template, so it's a little bit different already. So probably what happened was like, in the template I sent you, it was like this, with a border and width. Again, you know, you don't need to know all the details, but it looked probably like, oh no, it's not, it's working. I know it wasn't working like this, a little bit funny on Chrome, that the third image was not here, but it was in the second row. So I had to change the template, which is to add this line here. It says display block, which is, I already wrote it on the, as a comment on the classroom. Do you actually get email like when I post comments here?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's easier for me to just comment here instead of like sending you an email every time. Or maybe I'll do both, just to be sure. So yeah, it was like this, but if you add this one line, then it will properly do the layout like this. Yeah?
It was me with that issue when we were on the online meeting about the layout, and I added this line, and it's like, it's not showing.
Is not working still?
I mean, like, it shows only it transfers me to the page if I do view with only the code.
Can I check what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I did this, yeah, I copied like the entire thing from
Yeah.
here.
And did you save it? Yeah, so you
I
saved.
saved, and now it's just this. It shows only the code.
Ah, okay, because you access the style.css, so you go not.
Yeah, so you mean like the entire site?
Yeah. And so sometimes you have to like refresh it with shift button to reload the style file, which is, yeah, so it worked now. But so what happens was that sometimes you edit the style.css and it doesn't show up on the final result. When it happens, you have to like press this reload button with shift, or you can also do command Shift R or Control Shift R if you're on Windows, and that will kind of refresh all the cache, because sometimes when you edit something, but browser is like kind of smart that it doesn't always reload everything, and the style sheet is not always like what's edited. So it kind of assumes that there's no change, but you actually changed it, so there's this kind of discrepancy, and then you don't see the update. So when you have doubt, you can always just press, like hold Shift, and then press that reload button, and that will work. And also, like I noticed that this template has this like ugly border like around the image. If you don't like it, you just like delete this line and save it. And again, I think I need to not just, yeah, in my case it worked, but yeah, if you can Shift reload, then it will make no border here, which is maybe a bit more desirable in most cases, actually. So that's just a tip. But of course, if you want like a ugly, not ugly, but bold, thick border, like, you can make this through like 3 points or 3 pixels, and it becomes like this kind of border around it, which is actually not so bad. So if you can, experiment a bit, but again, like, it's not like the most important part of the course, so don't spend too much time. But again, I understand, sometimes you want to make it nice and fun. So that's up to you. Okay, so that's that, and I'm gonna close this one. And what the content I'm gonna go through, I think I already posted somewhere. I think I will post it again as a kind of follow-up of the course today. But basically, wait, am I recording it properly? I think I'm doing it. Yeah, so basically I scraped all the previous submissions from the last year, because the service I was using is called glitch.com, and they decided to shut down this July. So, which was also the reason why I switched to Neocities, which is like first time I'm using it for teaching. But I think it's quite, there are some things quite different, but I think it doesn't really hurt that you know a little bit of like HTML, and because that's the foundation. So whatever you use, like WordPress or Wix or whatever, everything will end up in a HTML code. So just to have a kind of, like very basic understanding of how to work with HTML would be beneficial in, like, if you move to other tools for professional stuff. Yeah, it was used. The previous courses, they used glitch.com and some kind of other template. So it looks a little bit different, but the idea is the same, that we'll have this top page and the about page, where you talk about what this website is and who you are. And also we make the 3 posts. Well, I said at least 3 posts, because in the previous one, there's some students made like a lot more pages. But let's see. For example, this is just 2 pages. I think there's like something that, oh yeah, this one. I really like this one, the piano blog. It's about his hobby playing the piano, and kind of showcased, I think he already posted some videos on his channel. Well, not this one. Okay, it's not his content. I thought it was his content. So maybe it was on the, like for example, this one is his own content he posted on the YouTube. And also like a reminder that, if you want to embed contents from YouTube, you can always do that. And it's really helpful, because you don't have to like click like link to the YouTube and open the video on another tab, but you can embed this so that you can play it inside the page. The way you do it is, if you go to YouTube, I will maybe just open my channel, and for example, I want to, wait, let's mute this tab before it goes crazy. Okay. For example, I have this tutorial video that I want to embed. Okay, this is me talking about something. If I want to talk about, if I want to embed this on my web page, there's a button called Share here. And this is normally like you use it for sharing on like other platform, but also there is this embed button. And if you press this, it makes this scary looking code. But basically, you just copy everything, press the copy button, and you can, I should actually try it because it's nice to demonstrate it. So I would put it in, I don't know, page 2 just randomly. And I would put it between like where I marked the page content, somewhere here, and the not inside paragraph. I mean, you can do it still, but just paste this thingy, save it, and if you visit, I think it's the second page, so it was this one, and it's not working. That's strange. Now it's working. I had to reload it. So yeah, it makes this kind of nice embed thingy, and as I said, like this will make the video playable inside the page. If you're taking someone's content, sometimes it doesn't allow to embed and play inside the page. I think there's like a setting that you can change. If that's your content, you can like select it so that others can embed or not. But normally if you just like upload your content with default settings, you can probably embed and play it inside your page. So yeah, if you have like a teaser, like a trailer of your project, or I don't know, the video you took in the garden, you just upload it on YouTube. I mean, you can also embed contents from Instagram, for example, I assume. I don't know how it is. I don't use it anymore. But normally, if you, like a lot of like social media has this share button where you can just like share as HTML code. Actually, if you scroll down, there are like more settings here. I think they also have like Vimeo and stuff like this too. So that's something nice from Hugo's, which one was it? This one, yeah. And what I really liked about his website is that not just the embed video, but he kind of made it into like one post, or like one post as one song. And he talked about this piece and a kind of background story about it. And he has this like rating. So he has this like different like categories. He rated like out of 10. And if you check other pages or posts, you can also see like compare them with other ratings, which I think is nice. Like he didn't really like invest in like kind of graphic design, which is totally fine because I didn't really ask for that. But he really made it like kind of dense content with all this background story about it and the rating and also the rationale of the rating. So I think it's like a really nice strategy if you're like making a website about music or film, or can be like a book review or something. You can have kind of like a scoring system and say that, 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10, whatever, however you do it. But it kind of makes a nice way to standardize, and also it makes it easy for you to organize content, I think. This has no, it's still some text. And also, I think it's nice to like comment which video is yours, which image is yours, which image is taken from somewhere, just to clarify. I mean, I don't know if this website is like a project that you're gonna like publish to like wide audience, or maybe not yet. But you might want to like, even if it's like a small project and you don't expect anyone to read it, it's always good to like credit what is from you yourself, what is from others, because you might like take that content and put it somewhere else, and then you don't want to like, if it's like a bigger project, you don't want to like forget crediting properly so that you don't get into trouble. Yeah, so that's that. So I really like this, and I think it's also like nice to have this like background that is, so the background is the song, like the background of the song, but also he has his like his background story about it, and I think it's nice always to like have some kind of touch from yourself, so it's not just about like, and I think this can be seen in, for example, this one is like a kind of travel guide. It's a little bit made a little bit different way so that it's just like a scrollable and there's no link to other posts or pages. But again, it's fine as long as you have, like the content that I expect to have from like 3 pages or 3 posts, for example. Yeah, so she talks about like places to visit. I thought she has like a little bit of like story about herself. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's from Kiev, and that's why she wrote about it. And yeah, maybe it's sounds a little bit generic, but like if you're like writing some kind of like travel guide, for example, like in this one, you can add some kind of like, places that like usual travel guide wouldn't have. Like if you go to TripAdvisor, you get all these like popular places, but if you like put some of these like in a cafe or something that is not really like known to other people, but something something you like, I think that's really interesting to add those like contents that's personal. And if you could also write a little bit of like a story about it from your perspective, like how you found it, or is it something, if it's like a travel guide, it's a place that you visit often with your friends, or is it with your family or whatever, or is it a place you find it quiet that you can work on your laptop, for example. Those like little detail makes it more interesting, because if you, for example, I mean, it's also fine if you generate some content with like ChatGPT and put it there, as long as you tell me that you're using it. But then like what always happens is like, it kind of like makes it so generic that it's not really personal. So I guess you can read it and then you notice that it's probably like made by AI. So I think to make it more interesting, I think that's also like related to when you make a portfolio, like how, like sometimes you want to make it more generic, but sometimes you want to have your like personality in the post, and always like having your personal stories makes it like different from others. Let's see others. The problem was that in the template, this Hello 11T was the kind of the default title, and not everyone changed it, so that's why it has like a whole bunch of these ones. No, this was a different one. Yeah. And yeah, for example, like it can be just about the matcha that you've been drinking, and I think she just like wrote about it. I would say like this was not like I would expected like more content from this, like not just enjoying, but like what's the flavor and so on. That would be nice. But I think I really liked I think especially this top page that has this like background. I don't exactly know how she did it, but I think it's really nice touch to the website. But yeah, like it has the pages, like the top page, and then there's about page. She talks a little bit about herself. But I think the content is a little bit too thin. And I would expect, for example, I don't know why this recipe button doesn't work. The contact button doesn't also work, but the blog kind of works. So yeah, I would expect to see some kind of a recipe, or like, is it, again, like the strategy of like, using like kind of star or like rating system would be like nice if you compare like this, like matcha from this cafe, from that cafe, and you can like compare them, or I don't know, like if they tell you how much sugar is in there, I don't think, but if it's like product you buy at the supermarket, you can see, like the calorie and so on. I'm drinking Coke right now, but you want to be like a little bit conscious about, some people want to be conscious about it, so you can maybe like write about those things. Or if you're making your own recipe, that's definitely like something interesting that, yeah, like if it's a recipe, you can always like talk about, again, like kind of personal stories, or like a tip that you wouldn't find it in the normal recipe website. Something like this will make it more like stand out. I think there is one that talked about, yeah, speaking about film, actually there's one who made the film review. I think we already talked about the rating system, so he took that and yeah, put some images, which I guess he should have credited them, but it doesn't matter so much at this point. Yeah, I think it's the background is a little bit busy and it's a little bit too bold. But yeah, like in his case, he just put like rating, but he could also have some kind of like, I don't know what are other rating system for films, but also he can talk about where is it produced, how long is the film, or like how can you watch it. That could be also super useful for readers, because if you read this text, you might want to watch this film, or may not be. But if you want to watch this film, is it something that you can watch right now at the cinema, or is it something that you can watch on Netflix? Those like tips would be super helpful. So like just to think about like what's the next step. Also like again, like going to that matcha or cafe review, you can also talk about what's the opening hours. Also, where's location? If it's like a cafe or like a travel blog, you can always like link to Google Maps. Just like I was embedding the YouTube, you can also like just link to the Google Maps, or you can embed Google Maps, which is like also super useful. So for example, I don't know what can be helpful, but for example, I don't know what to talk about in the old town, but okay, you just probably want to talk about the square, and then always like you spot this share link. And in the case of Google Maps, there is this embed a map tab where you can like, again, it's this huge HTML it will generate. So you copy this HTML and you go back to the editor. I can keep this YouTube video and I'll put it's just irrelevant content, but just for demonstration, I just put the map embed here, and then if I go to that page, now it shows this, and this is not just an image, but it's embed map, so people can actually like use it as a map. So they can zoom out and get the sense of like where it is and so on. So I mean that's the beauty of like making your own website. It's not like bound to anything. Like if you use Instagram, you cannot post URL except your bio. So that's why people make that link tree or things like this. But in the case of like making your own website, there's no like, well, there are limitations, but it's much more like loose compared to like Instagram or other social media. So use that and it can be like really creative. I mean, also like if you're interested, you can also embed other websites if they allow to, and you can like really like you can create some really funky website. And there are indeed like people like artists using this medium as artwork. I mean, I also do a bit. So yeah, just experiment and have fun with that. Okay, so yeah, it's the same with like other blogs like the summer diaries. I mean, if it's like something really personal, you might not want to like embed the map of your parents' summer house. That's probably not what you want to do. But if it's something that like a kind of vacation place that you visited, you could also embed map. Well, I mean, you can always do embed or like put it as a link. I think I told you how to make a hyperlink, right? Because there is an example already in the test page I made here in the page 1 in the template. I think I deleted it, but yeah, if you don't know how to put the hyperlink, just tell me, then I can tell you how to do it. So let's see if there are other examples. Yeah, this is what I wanted to find. This is like exactly the recipe website, and yeah, exactly like I told you in the, I don't know if it was the first one or the last one. I think it was the last one. I talked about like the list you can make in your web page or post, and this is super useful if you're making a recipe website, for example. Like, I mean, this is like really simple. Like, I would say bare minimum. Like, you have the title of what this food is, kind of description of what it is, and you have a photo. Yeah, and now you want to have like a list of ingredients, and that's like kind of a like list of things in a bullet points. So you can use the template which I provided, which has like kind of unordered list or like this bullet point list where you list things. And I mean, she didn't use the like ordered list, which starts with 1, 2, 3. But this is also fine if you just like write the instructions as it is. So yeah, that's one way of making the recipe website. And yeah, like related to the other web pages, I would probably add some kind of like, okay, it's also nice that she has the ingredients, and for this one, she talks a bit about like a side for this recipe. So you can always be creative about like how to structure it. There's no like one way to do it. But basically, yeah, like you can also have like add more photos if you have like taken, like photos for like each step. You might not have, but that may be helpful for some cases. And yeah, like kind of basic information like how much time do you need for that. If it's like baking, you probably want to have like time for like actual work time and how long you need to wait, because I don't know, like some fermentation that you need like 5 days or 1 week. That's so you can like list those things as well, and also just say like is it easy or not. I actually like this, like her case, like in the side for this dish she talked about store-bought kimchi, because I'm lazy and I kind of like this kind of, again, that's kind of the, when I talk about something personal, this is the kind of the thing that you might not find this like kind of casual information if you go to like a big, I don't know, corporate website where they have like recipes. So, and she talks also about like I prefer this flavor and that flavor. So that's kind of the thing that makes it interesting for the readers to explore, not just about like having this kind of generic information about how to cook this and that. And I guess you can also talk a little bit about like personal story. I mean, in her case, like she talks about like it's from TikTok, but then she changed it a little bit. So that can be like, also interesting to add. She's there as a photo. Has her photo in the about page. So that can be also nice to like add your information in the about page, like your photo, if you want to. You don't have to, but it may be also nice to like give a sense of like who you are. And also when I talk about like to make it more personal, I think having like your profile or something, it doesn't have to feature your face. It can be something, I don't know, if it's about, I don't know, what can be a good example. If it's about like a piano, like, the song review, it can be just a photo of your piano or whatever that is like related to the topic, but something personal in the about page would be super nice, I think. And like this one, I think he was quite like already like super knowledgeable with making websites. DK, he did this, but actually the layout is like similar to the one I provided, basically like 3 columns. And he talked about what like his experience was when he was in New York. And it's like I don't think like there's like a coherent narrative in here. I think it's just like 3 things that he'd want to talk about from the time in New York, and that's exhibition he visited, and again, like he's talking a little bit about like his experience with like playing Minecraft, and then he had a chance to see the exhibition. So it's not just about like generic information about what Minecraft is or what the exhibition is about. And then the park that he liked, when he was in the Airbnb, this Prospect Park was nearby, so he has like a lot of memories about it. And shows that he went. He talked about like those performances that he visited during a time in New York, which was, I was never much a person who would go for concerts and shows, so that's kind of like experience, like kind of special experience he had when he was spending time in New York. So that kind of makes it really personal, so I really like this one, except that I feel a little bit like the topics are quite random, at first I was not sure if he's performing or is it like something that he's exploring. I think for this assignment, it doesn't matter like if the message is clear or not. It's really up to you to like make your website and just finish it. So don't be too critical about what you're making. But towards like the second assignment, I would think about like, is this like a personal, like a journal, like blog kind of thing, or is it something more like the travel guide I talked about earlier to like showcase what are happening in New York. I don't know where this alarm is, but at this point, like I don't really, it doesn't really matter if the message of your blog is clear or not, because that's something we'll work on towards the second assignment. So just don't worry too much, just collect whatever things that you want to talk about. And really, like, as we saw, the topics are quite diverse from the previous one already. So, okay, this is more like film stuff. He was working on, and as you can see, like sometimes like it loads super slow, and this is something I mentioned in the previous class. But if you upload like a super big image on the NeoCities or whatever platform we were using back then, also doesn't like compress on its own. So if you upload like 10 megabyte file, then it will remain as a 10 megabyte image. So you probably, like, if it loads like super slow, something is wrong, except that also the university Wi-Fi is quite slow sometimes. But if it's loading super slow, you may want to shrink your image and re-upload it so that it will load faster. Because if you're using like social media or like, I mean, even like WordPress and stuff, like those advanced platforms, they will take care of like compressing image and optimize it for mobile, for desktop, and so on. But we're doing like really basic stuff. So, I mean, again, if it's loading like super slow, I don't say that you get less points, but it's not like a fun experience if you share it with others. Like now, what was happening, like it was like loading it super slow. So it's just like for the experience, you might want to edit it, make it small, or just save it as like JPEG if it's like a PNG file. Because for example, like if you right click on the image, you can, it says, depending on the browser, it says different things. But in my case, open image in new tab, and then it's his image, which is like 5,000 times 3,000 pixels, which is like super big. And probably that's not what I mean. Alexander, he was like super like enthusiastic, and I gave him like good grade because he was really working on it. So nothing personal, but just as an example that in this one, it was loading super slow because the image is super big, and my display is not like much less than 5,000 pixels, like 2,000 something, I don't know. So I don't need that resolution. If you're like printing this, if you're like exhibiting, and if you have to send it to the print shop and so on, you probably want like that big resolution file. But that's like completely different scenario. And in our case, we want to keep it small, and it's better to have like low resolution but loads fast instead of like higher resolution that takes forever to load. So that's just an example, like, or like what happens if you upload big image. But yeah, like I think he did really great job, like also putting these contents. I mean, it's more like his portfolio, but talks about the stories. I mean, I think also I made that zoomed in a bit, so yeah, like it looks like this. Also in the last session, I think I talked about like how to change the font, or I remember like I recorded some of the parts that like demonstrating how to do it. Maybe I can redo it now, because in his case he has some kind of different font from others. So basically, like if you want to work on the font, you can just like go to fonts.google.com, and then if you already, it's a little bit confusing, but if you already select something, if you already did something before, you probably want to remove. Okay. And browse fonts. So, I mean, it's nice that it's already like showcasing like a lot of fonts. If you want to like select something specific, I think there's a filter that you can change it to, not this. Oh, I didn't know this feeling and so on. But yeah, I was more like looking for like a serif, like sans serif. I mean, I'm not an expert in like typography, but I mean, at least I know the difference between serif and sans serif. I mean, as an image, like I can't really explain what the difference is. But yeah, for example, I'm like looking for sans serif font. I can just click on this, and then, I don't know, I want something like different from others. So I chose this one, and if you get font, you don't need to download it. You just like others, like you looked into, like there's this embed code is there. So you go to this embed code, and there are like two parts. So first, I copy this code, which has these, like these triangle kind of brackets, and it's a little bit tedious that you have to edit every HTML file, but so in my case, like I go to the top page, which is index.html, and this has to go, I think I already edited, so I have this already. But let's say I don't have this. So the template is like this, and I put it inside the head. And the head block closes with this slash head, that's the end. So I want to insert it before this one, and I just paste whatever it was there on the fonts Google, and with this it will load the what's called Oswald font. Yeah, will be loaded on the page if you add these lines, and you just save it.
Now you can see there is like a red X on the 14th line.
Yeah. So this is sometimes like a little bit like confusing. Like this can be like something you have to pay attention. Like if you mess it up completely like this, you're like missing this, then it will highlight, there is something wrong. Basically, it's like the kind of way that they tell you something is wrong, and you have to pay attention most of the time. Like this case is completely wrong, so I have to add to fix it to make it like this. It's a rule, so it's something that's broken. But in this case, I don't really know. It says like named, entity, expected, got, none. I actually don't know. I actually don't know why it says this, but it's the.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean it's just like straight from this. And wait, actually, you know what? Okay, so I will revert it, because I think there's like a better way to do it. So sorry for like changing it on the spot. So I will just delete it because I think there's a actually easier way to do it, so that I don't have to edit all the HTML file every time. But there is another option called import here. And then I think I have to like copy this, what's inside, like, but not copy code because I don't want the style. Sorry, this may be a little bit confusing, but I just want this line that says import, @import, blah, 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 blah. I want this to be inside the style CSS. Yeah, here at the top line, I will add this. I mean, yeah, I can put it at the top. So now I added this, Oswald. And now, yeah, so this is something I need. So this font family thing, I want to add this to the same style CSS file. I put it here where it says like body, comma, HTML. It already has the font family. And in the template, it was loading this Roboto font, which is like, I think it's like a default for Android, but we don't have to use it. Now I'm going to replace it with this Oswald, for example, or whatever you have. And if you save it, and since this is a CSS file, I think I want to shift reload the page. And yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite font, but it's there. It's updated. Now, the title is not, because I think I changed it separately. So if you're not sure, you can always like look for this font dash family. You can press Command F or Control F to search for the word font family. And yeah, in my case, I already changed the header text to have this different font. I can just delete it so that it will be same as others. Again, you don't have to do it, but I think it's nice. I mean, it's also fun to experiment with fonts. So basically, the way you do it is like you select the font, get embed code, and switch to this import. And now you put this into the style sheet, and this one into the, what it says, HTML body, no, body HTML and whatever. And just like I saw, like there's like different ways to change the font just for the heading, just for this part and that part. And I think there's like different ways to like pair fonts. I mean, that's not like a technical thing, but more like for the graphics design. Like if you go like font pairing, there are probably like different websites where like suggest already like good combination of fonts. And these are also like, so one is like a font, like if you, for example, like I can also share it later. This website, fontjoy.com, it already has like a suggested like pairing. So for example, having this as a header, this kind of bold sans serif or whatever, and this for, I don't know, another header, and the text can be this. And actually, oh yeah, it has the name of the font here, Montserrat, and then Laura and something. And I think if you click generate, it will just swap the fonts, and you can experiment just press this until you find the combination you like, and you can use that. You don't have to credit this website. I mean, you can, but you don't necessarily have to. So that's one way of like finding a nice combination. And I think also like if you really like this header, but if you don't like the rest, you can click on this one to like lock this part, and then you click generate again. It will start changing the rest, but you will keep the header font like that. So that's kind of like a quick and easy way that you don't have to learn typography, but you can just generate something nice. And it's same for like colors, not coolers. Is it coolers? Yeah. So there are like different websites where they suggest like good combination of colors. So for example, this one, Coolers, and I'm not affiliated with them. I just like sometimes use it, but there are other tools as well. I think Adobe also has their own thing and so on. I always reject cookies. Basically, you click on the Start Generator. I don't think you need to log in unless you really need something. I never had to. And it's the same idea that in this case, I think you press space key. Yeah, and it will generate like different combination colors. And this is useful like if you want to select like a color matching for the background and the header and the text and so on. It's always like tricky to like find like nice color scheme, and this already suggests you like examples. And okay, actually I like the previous one. I can go back. This looks nice, and just like the font one, there is this like lock, this padlock icon. So if you want to keep these three colors, but if you want to experiment with combination with other colors, then you lock them and then you press space again. It will like change. The ones are not locked. So yeah, that's one way of like changing it. And I think this service is like made for web stuff, so it already shows this hex color. And this like 6 characters, basically this is the color code. You just like copy it. I mean, in HTML it starts like this 6 characters. When it starts with like this hash, no, what is called? Sharp sign, and then followed with 6 characters. That means it's the color. And I mean, this is kind of boring white. It says mint cream, but it's kind of boring. So I like this robin egg blue color. I don't understand what it is, but I'll copy it and I just put it into the style sheet again, where it says, yeah, background color. It's quite self-explanatory. This is the background color of the header. And instead of black, you can put this sharp and whatever characters. And if I do this, it will be like this. But I noticed that this is not really readable. I mean, the title is okay, but these links are not readable. So I need to either change the header color to something darker, or I might want to change these colors into something else. And yeah, but again, you don't have to change it, but I know that it's fun part to experiment. So if you feel you're done with all the contents, you might want to experiment with it, or you don't have to if you don't feel like doing it. Yeah, so I was going through some of the previous websites, but also kind of adding some tips how to make your website a little bit more, well, not interesting, but different ways to add information, like embedding YouTube videos, maps, changing the font color. I mean, with the CSS file, I know that it gets really confusing, and I still get confused once in a while or often when I work with it. So don't worry, and if you have questions, I think we'll have like 5-minute break, and then if you have questions, we can like do it interactively. I can either come to your computer or we can talk like this. But for the recording, I will close it here.